A couple of months ago, I made a video talking about the top 5 unattainable watches I wish I could buy. By unattainable, I meant watches that were not available to buy because of limited numbers, or watches that were way too expensive to think about realistically. In that video, I spoke about some crazy watches from Voutilainen, FP Journe and Lange. That video is linked down below if you want to watch it. Today, I want to talk about 5 watches that I consider attainable for me. Now that doesn't mean that these watches are cheap. In fact, I know that none of these would be considered cheap financially. However, all of these watches are watches I could realistically afford if I wanted to. Some right away, some in a few months on saving a bit of money. Being this crazy watch geek that I am, I think about watches all the time, and these are some of the watches I think of a lot. I'll start off with the most affordable and end with the most expensive watch that I would like to buy one day. The first watch on my list is the Laco Augsburg. Laco is a German watch brand best known for making no-nonsense Flieger or pilot-style watches. This brand was founded in 1925, which means it will celebrate its centennial in just 2 years. Now Laco has been instrumental in German watchmaking since its inception, even supplying the German military with watches during the World Wars. So despite being largely under the radar, this brand has some real heritage. If you browse their website, you can see that Laco has several interesting models. But the one I am most interested in is one of their basic pilot's watch, the Augsburg Blue. As you can see, the Augsburg is a simple watch with all the makings of the perfect pilot's watch. That is, a large, highly legible dial with clear white hands and markers. The Augsburg comes in 2 sizes, a 39mm version and a 42mm version. I would go for the 39mm version, which has a lug width of 46.5mm, which would work well on my 15.25cm wrist. This watch, like many Laco watches, can be customized in many ways to include an upgraded movement, an anti-reflective coating, choice of strap or bracelet, and even engravings if you're into that. Starting at just over $400, I think this is the perfect entry-level pilot's watch. Unless you can make your own. But that's a topic I'll be covering in a future video. By the way, what are some watches you consider attainable that you would like to own one day? I'd love to hear your list. Moving from Germany to France, my next pick would be the quintessential Cartier, the iconic Cartier Tank. If you've been subscribed to the channel, you may know that I bought and reviewed the new Cartier Santos a few months ago. I was blown away by that watch and thoroughly impressed with Cartier. Since then, I have a newfound respect for them as a watch brand and would like to buy another watch from their catalog someday. So what better watch than the Tank Must de Cartier? The Tank is probably the most iconic Cartier out there. I like the look of the watch with its rectangular case and classic wearing dimensions. I feel like it looks extremely timeless and classy. Now the Tank comes in a bunch of configurations and prices. If I were to pick just one Tank, it would be the Solar Beat. So now why the Solar Beat instead of an automatic or even a regular quartz tank? As you may know, the entry-level tanks are quartz watches, with the mechanical tanks being too expensive for my liking. So if I am to buy a quartz watch, I might as well buy one of the cool cats, the solar-powered quartz model. One that will work accurately for 16 whole years without needing a battery replacement. That's because the Tank Solar Beat has a rechargeable battery that is powered by just a little exposure to the sun every few days. And it costs the same as the regular quartz movement. If you're liking the video so far, please don't forget to hit the like button, it means a lot to me. Thanks. Next up is another watch from Germany, the Nomos Club Sport Neomatic. I don't own any Nomos watches, but I've always admired their Bauhaus design philosophy, and I appreciate the fact that this is still an independent brand that produces 90% of their watches in-house, including their movements. I could honestly fill this whole list with 5 Nomos watches, but if I were to pick just one, it would be the Club Sport Neomatic. I think this is one of the most well-rounded and complete watches you can buy for under $5,000. This watch has great looks, an in-house movement, plenty of water resistance, and is sized right. Let's unpack all of this. The Club Sport Neomatic is available in polar blue or petrol green, both of which are great looking options in my opinion. These watches come in with a diameter of 37mm and a super slim profile measuring just 8.5mm thin. I've seen these watches in person and let me tell you, they look so sleek. The lugs, however, like most Nomos watches, are really big, with the lug to lug dimension measuring 47.7 millimeters, giving them significant wrist presence. On the inside, this watch packs the Nomos DUW 3001 automatic caliber with a power reserve of 43 hours. As far as I know, Nomos movements are well designed and reliable. But these movements are not just workhorses. I haven't come across many movements that look this good at this price point. Now remember that this watch retails for just over $3,000, so I think you're getting excellent value for money here. Lastly, this watch has 200 meters of water resistance, making it more than capable to go swimming or even diving. I think this is a great do-it-all sports watch and I would love to own it one day. The penultimate watch on my list is the Tudor Black Bay 54. Like a Nomos, I've never owned a Tudor for one reason or the other. While I like many of their designs and have tried on some of their watches, I never felt like buying one. That's mainly because I find most Tudors too big and too thick for my liking.
That's what she said.
That changed with the launch of the Black Bay 54 earlier this year. The Black Bay 54 is a watch whose design I really like. Sized at 37mm in diameter and just over 11mm thick, I think this will be the Black Bay whose fit will finally work for me. What's more is that this is another well-rounded watch with a COSC certified in-house movement with a 70-hour power reserve, 200 meters of water resistance, and a simple yet attractive design. All for less than half the price of a Rolex Submariner. Man, I really want a Black Bay 54. But these things are so hard to get. I've been waiting for one from 2 or 3 ADs for so many months, but I haven't got the call yet. Have you got one? If yes, how long did you have to wait? Share some tips with me, I'll be so grateful to you. Now, have you heard of a watch brand called Trelobe? If you haven't, congratulations, you're a normal sane person. If you have, you're inflicted with this disease we call watch collecting. For all you sane people, Trelobe is a French micro brand based out of Paris whose watches are made in Switzerland. Trelobe was founded only in 2018 by Gauthier Moissonneau, who is known for making super quirky watches that display time in a wholly unique manner. I've been struck by the Trelobe designs ever since I discovered them last year. A few months ago, I visited one of the US retailers in New York, where I got my hands on the Trelobe Nuit Fantastique and was blown away by it. I love the way you read time on this watch, which consists of 3 rotating discs stacked on top of one another. The outermost ring depicts the hours with the Trelobe logo pointing to the current hour. The smallest sub-dial, which rotates under the dial, shows the minutes, and the bigger rotating dial shows the seconds. Now this may seem complicated at first, but it's really not, and you can really get a hang of it soon once you have the watch in your hand. The finishing may be hard to convey on video, but this blue dial with a grainy texture looks just so refined in person that I was completely taken. Turning the watch around, you can see Trelobe's eccentric caliber. This is an automatic micro-rotor movement developed exclusively for Trelobe by the Cercle d'Horlogerie based out of La Chaux-de-Fonds in Switzerland. Don't make me say that again. Now this is a highly regarded movement manufacturer that produces high horology movements used by brands like Louis Vuitton, Spique Marin and Jacob & Co. among others. In short, the movement inside the Nuit Fantastique is really fantastic. Sorry about that. This watch comes in 2 sizes, 38.5mm and 40.5mm, and a bunch of dial colors and case materials. What's cool is that Trelobe now offers the entry-level watches only in titanium. So the lightweight titanium, sub 9mm thickness and decent lug-to-lug width would make a great fit on my 6-inch wrist. These watches start at €9,000, which may sound like a lot, but when you factor in the revolutionary time-telling mechanism, high horology movement and excellent finishing, this price starts to look more like a bargain. Of all the watches I mentioned here, this would be the one I would love to own the most. But I don't have €9,000 lying around to spend on a watch. Perhaps I could manage it by moving some money around and using some credit cards, but it would really be hurting my wallet. So this one is going to have to wait a while. But there it is. That's my list of 5 relatively affordable watches that I'd love to own one day. Do you agree with my list? Is there something you would change? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks a lot for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do boop the like button. Your support means a lot to me. Thanks again and see you soon.